Welcome everybody to the Arab American National Museum and our panel on Arab Youth, Arab Spring, the impacts of democracy and, the impacts of Arab Spring on college students in the area and the way they view themselves in relation to what's happening, specifically around identity issues and citizenship and democracy. I'm going to introduce the person who will be moderating tonight. He's also in charge of the project that we've been working on for the last year between the Arab American National Museum and Mr. Atef Saeed from the University of Michigan. He's a PhD in sociology, PhD candidate in sociology, and also a former human rights lawyer in Egypt. His current research is on the Arab Spring and its effects in sort of transnational aspects, and he can tell you a little bit more about it and what drove him to the kind of research that he's doing. I'll introduce him, he'll introduce what we're talking about, and then each student or pair of students will get up and introduce themselves and offer a few brief insights into what their organizations have been doing and maybe about their own identity and how it's been impacted over the last few years. This is very informal, and then we'll have sort of a discussion, and of course we'll continue to eat. Feel free to go and help yourselves throughout the event. But first let me introduce Atef Saeed.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks for everybody who came today. And I will be brief. I'll have like 4 general points to introduce this project. The very first thing is what the motivation behind the project. And I'm sure that people are following the news and like seeing things are not probably going well in the Arab Spring. Or some people are saying Arab Spring became a civil war, or like betrayed or hijacked, or in different formats, or Arab Spring became an Islamic autumn in some countries, that some conservative regimes, or so forth. But back then, in February, March, January 2011, everybody was excited. And one big idea that came to me, in general, my dissertation is about the Egyptian revolution, and I've been, as Matt said, I was doing human rights work in Egypt before starting my PhD. So I care about that, but many people also care, and I had many discussions with different people in the community, in Ann Arbor, in the museum, and it was like, one big idea was the difference between Arab image in the Arab Spring, as people who are promoting democracy and inspiring Occupy Wall Street and inspiring other movements, compared to the image that was constructed or circulated or intensified in the media after September 11th, 2001. So it's like how these 2 different images happened, like how there are two different moments. We want to talk about this moment, and I thought many people were talking about the notions of pride, of we are feeling like citizens for the first time. And also, and I will talk about that briefly now, but many of the students are dual nationals, but they feel like we are engaged in our communities in the US, and also feeling we want to do more things overseas. So that was the big idea, like theoretically, and the 2 different images and how it came to be, and how the Arab Spring affected everything. So that's one thing, and actually, in this event and the project is sponsored by program in UM Ann Arbor's Arts of Citizenship and the museum, the Arab American National Museum. So they support public scholarship. So, and if you notice, and that's my second note, students, this is not pure sophisticated academic talks. It's really it's a public scholarship event. So we want to talk to the community, and it's probably, it may be academic, but it's really simple. So we want to talk to the community. That's why you will notice, and from our discussions, we don't have like super sophisticated academic theory or terminology or things like that. So that's one general point, the idea, the motivation behind the project. The second thing is the connectiveness between all these the schools. I mean, we have students from Wayne State University, from UM Dearborn, and UM Ann Arbor. Students representing and worked and have been activists in different groups in these 3 campuses. And actually, and the one other general idea we noticed in this, in the discussions, how things were connected. It's not just about Egypt or Libya. Like, people see that yes, there is different trajectories happened in each countries. Probably things got more worse or got a little bit better or was more promising in some cases than others, but yet there's connections. Like, it's regional powers are influencing what's going on there negatively or badly. International superpowers and the U.S. Government is playing a significant role in this region, with good or bad, mostly bad, but it's things are connected, and students who have been doing activists on specific issues suddenly after the Arab Spring realize that you have to do more awareness and things about some other Arab countries that were not really part of their focus. So they would hear these things in their conversations now. So that's a second issue, that how things were connected. You will see how things are connected. I forgot to mention that actually the project is not just about today's event. We met, the idea was to meet to do some informal workshops to prepare for our event today. So we met 2 times in the museum with this amazing group that you will hear in a second. And the first round of discussion were just raw testimonies about their groups, how they experienced the Arab Spring. And the second round of discussion was like more try to crystallize outline for our presentation today. And the concept that, as Matt touched upon, we were talking about democracy. What do we mean by democracy? And we know it's sophisticated, but for example, when we hear about Egypt and the Muslim Brotherhood, people are talking about what do we mean by democracy? Is like a ballot box or like right to vote? Is this American democracy, or this is that people are thinking, or democracy is something deeper than this? So it's lots of discussions in different directions. So that was the idea, that it's not coming to talk today. Students worked hard and met and gave us from their time, and the museum's hospitality and beautiful space hosted us. So we had 2 rounds of workshops to prepare for today's event. The last thing I want to touch upon is, as in the introduction, we're talking about identity, and that's things that we'll hear in the students' presentations. Concepts of identity, democracy, and citizenship. But one interesting theme, is the up and down, or there are 2 different moments too, between 2 years ago, the pride, inspiration, compared to now, people feel betrayed, angry, things are losing track, it's not going well. So I want to just say something, and you will hear the students. I'm not talking on their behalf. I'm just summarizing and introducing. So 2 days ago, there was an interview in Al-Ahram online, Egyptian newspaper, with professor, economist, leftist, well-known Samir Amin, and he was saying just a beautiful statement, and I'm quoting Samir Amin, who say, yes, probably the revolution didn't change a regime, or didn't make political regime better, but it changed the people. And that's what I want to emphasize, and that's what really, despite how things seems not going well, despite the challenges that students were talking about their groups and their work, students are aware, and this came out of the discussions, that students are aware, and they are really revolutions and things that people do have hope, and you can't steal our hope. That's the idea, that you're trying to betray us, doing counter revolutions or things that are not seeming going well, but actually that's you can't steal our dream from us, and that's these two different moments between the hope and anxiety are mixed together, and it's not really pure despair, but still keeping with the dream. You will hear this from in the beautiful presentation.